What have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing the product? Hi guys, it's Abby from Daunton Productions, and today I'm going to be answering question 6 of the evaluation. Today's video is going to be quite a wordy video, as the question is all about the technologies and the equipment that I use when producing my final film. So there was quite a lot that I used, quite a lot that I learned, quite a lot that I already knew. So here goes. The first piece of technology, and I'd say the main one that I have learnt to use, was Final Cut Pro. This was an essential program when creating our final film, as this is what we used to edit all of our shots together. Due to never have done media before and only started media as an A level, I had no knowledge of how to use Final Cut Pro. So before making our final film, me and my team member Lucy made a few other short films in order to try and get the hang of how to use the program and what its main features were. For example, how to cut shots, how to put music over shots, and how to play around with effects such as black and white. We also played around with titles to try and get an understanding of what titles would look good and professional in our final film. However, we only knew the basics, and therefore when it came to editing our final film, we had to Google on YouTube how to make some shots look darker or lighter and how to overlay shots. Therefore, overall, I've learnt a lot about Final Cut Pro from the process of constructing my final media product, and I now find it fairly easy to use this program as I have skills in using all the shortcuts. Another technology that I had to learn to use while constructing my final media film was the DSLR cameras. When we first went out and filmed, we had some troubles with the camera. For example, before recording, you'd be able to see the picture fine, but as soon as you press record, the camera would go black, and therefore we had to stop filming and ask our teacher the next day how to change this so it doesn't happen again. She told us that the camera was on automatic and it needed to be on the setting P. And therefore we learnt that when filming in different lighting, you need to have the camera on different settings according to the amount of light that you have. I also learned how to focus the camera, as often when you started to film the camera would go out of focus, and therefore you have to make sure the blue light is on, and if the camera still goes out of focus then you have to hold down the photo button. Overall, I found the use of the camera quite hard due to not using this type of camera before, and therefore my team member Lucy used to set up the camera more than I did. If I was to do my final film again, then I would probably use a different camera such as the Canon DSLR, as I feel as if this camera is easier to use, and my dad has one, so I'm a bit more familiar with how to use it, etc. However, if using this camera wasn't an option, then I'd definitely try and get more knowledge on how the camera works so my shots look more effective. One piece of equipment that caused a lot of chaos within the making of our final film was the memory card. And even though the memory card is only seen as a tiny piece of equipment in the eyes of the media world, I found this the most difficult to look after and use. This was because during the production of our final film, as a group we decided to use our own memory card rather than our sixth form memory cards, because we thought it would be a safer way to look after our work rather than our work accidentally being deleted by other students or lost in the cameras around the school. At first this seemed to be a good idea, and we all had our own work on one memory card. However, the memory card ran out of memory, and therefore one night when out filming we had to use a new memory card, which then accidentally got lost. And therefore my group lost a lot of footage, and unfortunately we couldn't refilm as we had a tight deadline. This then put my group under a lot of stress, as we felt like our film wasn't going to make sense, like where the shots weren't going to be in the film, and then the storyline wouldn't follow as well. And we thought we wouldn't get a very good grade. However, due to our editing skills, we managed to play around with the shots that we did have. However, this did limit the amount of work we had. Therefore, the memory card for me, I would say, was hard to look after, as it was so small and easily lost and misplaced. Therefore, overall, if I was to produce my final film again, I would take better care of the memory card and buy a little case so that it doesn't go missing as easy. I would also to make copies of the films on the memory card so that we always have backup of our own shots. Another piece of equipment that I used when creating my final film was the crane. At first, I found this piece of equipment really hard to set up and found it really heavy and big. However, after a few weeks, I soon managed to find it easier and quicker to set up. This is because I started to get knowledge of what degree to have the weight on, and therefore I wasn't time wasting. However, whenever setting up the crane, I always needed to have somebody close by to help me, as I'm quite small and I couldn't always put it up independently by myself. Another problem that we had with the crane is if we were going out filming, it was quite heavy to carry, so we always needed like one of our mums or dads to drive us somewhere and put the crane in the car because we physically couldn't carry it. So that was quite difficult to rely on our mums and dads when they were free to take us places. Lastly, another piece of equipment that I learned to use while constructing my final film was a tripod. This was an essential piece of equipment when filming shots for our final film, as without this our shots would look shaky and not as effective. This made our shots look more steady, and this then meant that when we edited them they weren't uneven, and then overall it made the film link and follow more easy. I already had knowledge on how to use the tripod, and therefore I felt as if setting up the tripod was really quick and easy for me. The reason why the tripod was so easy to use was because it only has 4 clips that you unclip to allow the legs to grow longer. Overall, I'd say that I have learnt a lot about equipment and technologies while constructing my final film. There's still a lot that I need to learn, but I'm quite impressed with what I have learned, and yeah, thank you for watching.